In order to complete DeltaMath.com homework number 12, you're going to need to review your notes. So the three topics for homework 12 are graphing a line from slope-intercept form, solve a linear system graphically, and solve a system by using elimination. So in the Google Classroom, under the Classwork tab, if you click on the left-hand side, or if you scroll down, you can get to the section for notes. So systems of equations and linear functions are where you can find that information. So to graph a line using slope and y-intercept, graphing linear equations written in slope-intercept form can be found here in the Unit 4 notes. Systems of equations can be found here in Unit 2. So it will show you how to use the elimination method, which is what the topic is called. And what I'll do now is I'll show you a couple of examples from each of these three. So the first one is to graph a line given two pieces of information. Remember, slope-intercept form is when you start by graphing your first point, which is the y-intercept. So remember, the y-intercept, which is this value here, is the first point that you graph on the y-axis number line. So the y-intercept is where our line will cross the y-axis. And this one says it will cross at -4. So I go down to the number -4 and I make my first point. That's my beginning. Then I use this slope value as my set of directions. Remember, it tells me exactly how many boxes or units that my line will rise and run. So it has a fraction of -1/2. Now I realize that the negative sign was on the side of the fraction, so I have to choose whether I want to give it to the 1 or give it to the 2. But I don't give it to both. So it's your choice. Either one will work. If I give it to the 1, I will go down one box and then over 2, make another point. Go down one box and over 2, make another point. Go down one box and over 2, make another point. So that is how I'm going to graph this line using DeltaMath. What you do is you take your mouse or your trackpad, you click one time on -4, that creates a first point. Then you move your mouse by following the slope down 1 over 2 to create your line. One more time. Start at the y-intercept. For us it's -3. Click once. Then follow the slope, which is 5 over 3. Rise 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and run +3. 1, 2, 3. Click there, and your graph is complete. Let's try topic number 2. Solve linear systems graphically. Now this is similar to what you just did, but instead of me saying that the y-intercept is 5 and that the slope is -1, which is exactly what this sentence is saying, because any sentence written in this order tells you a slope and a y-intercept. Now you'll notice in my equation here that my slope number was missing. That's why I filled it in with a -1. My y-intercept number has a plus sign in front, and that's also important. So my y-intercept for this equation is +5, and my slope is -1. So my y-intercept, or my b number, is 5, and my slope, right, my slope or my m number is -1. For my second sentence, my b or my slope number is -5, and my y-intercept number, my b number, is -5, and my slope is rise 3, run 2. Now listen, slope always needs to be a fraction, so if it's not, you put the invisible 1 underneath. Alright, let's get started. I'm going to graph my red line first. I plot a point at my y-intercept, and then I follow my slope. -1 means down 1, and +1 as a denominator means to the right. Down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1, and this would be my line. Now for my blue line. Start at -5, and my slope is up 3, 1, 2, 3, over 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3 over 2. 1, 2, 3 over 2. You know you're doing it correctly if they perfectly overlap at a single point. The single point is your actual answer to the problem. That point of intersection is the solution. The point of intersection is the solution. A point of intersection is written as an x and y coordinate. So go to your x number line and see that it lines up with 4. Go to your y number line and see that it lines up with 1. So the point of intersection, or the solution to this system graphically, is the point 4, 1. So now let's do that same task, but by using my mouse. Y equals negative x plus 5. Go up to 5, and then go down 1 over 1. Click. That graph is done. The second graph, go down to negative 5. Go up 1, 2, 3, and over 2. This right here, 4, 1, you can see the intersection. There's no point there drawn, but you can see it. So the solution is parentheses, 4, 1, parentheses. Submit your answer, and we're done. Let's try that one more time. Again, start at your y-intercept, which for this problem is negative 2, and click once. Now from here, you count 4 over 3, 4 over 3, up 4 because it's positive, over to the right 3 because it's positive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Click. Now let's do the second equation. Start at negative 8. That's the y-intercept. Now we have a negative sign next to our 2/3. I'm going to give the negative to the 2. That means I go down 2, and then the 3 is positive. Positive 1, positive 2, positive 3. My two lines are drawn. My intersection point is right over here. Remember, you read the x number first, so I go over to negative 3, and then I go down to negative 6. So negative 3, negative 6, inside parentheses, is the solution to this system. Now for the last topic, elimination method. This requires you to use some algebra. Some questions are easier than others. This one happens to be a subtraction problem. And I know that because these two values here do not have opposite signs. You see how they're both 9s? Well, one needs to be a negative and one needs to be a positive. And when you don't have opposite signs, you need to do what's called distribute a negative 1. So I'm going to leave my first sentence the same. Negative 9x plus 8y equals negative 26. But my second sentence, I'm going to change every single sign. That's what distributing that negative 1 means. So I'm going to get a negative times a negative is a positive negative times a negative is a positive, and a negative times a negative is a positive. Now I can add these two sentences together because I get an elimination. 8y plus 6y is 14y, and negative 26 plus 24 is, did I do this right? Oh, I wrote the wrong number there. Let me erase that, sorry. It's supposed to say 12. I don't know where I got that 24 from. That's crazy. It's supposed to say 12. All right. So negative 26 plus 12, you're going to need a calculator for that, but the answer is going to be negative 14. Then I divide by 14, and I get my first answer, negative 1. Now remember, a system always has two answers because it's a point. So I need to find out what the x number is. So I take this y value, and I plug it into either one of these equations. I'll use the top one just because it's there. So I'm going to erase and replace one of these letters. I'm going to erase, on purpose, this letter. So I'm erasing the letter y, and I am replacing it with negative 1. Now I need to use my skills to simplify this equation, adding 8 to both sides. let's see here. This is going to be negative 18, divide by negative 9, and x is equal to 2. The answer to this problem is 2, comma, negative 1, because x is first. 2 is in the x spot, and negative 1 is in the y spot. So watch where I type it. 2, and then negative 1. Submit your answer. We got it right. Let's try one more. Okay. For this one, again, I have matching 10s, but I don't have opposite signs. So again, I'm going to distribute that negative 1. Keep the first sentence the same, and change all the signs of the second numbers. Negative 10x, positive 2y, negative 16. These eliminate. This becomes 11y. This becomes negative 33. My first solution is negative 3 for the letter y. Again, go back to the start. Choose one sentence. I'll happen to choose the top sentence. It doesn't matter. And erase and replace the correct number. So I need to erase the letter y, and I need to replace it with the correct value, which is negative 3. So that gives me 10x minus 27 equals negative 17. Plus 27 plus 27, 10x equals 10. Divide by 10, and x is 1. Use your calculator to help you. Again, my values are x is 1 and y is negative 3. Submit your answer, and that is how you complete this lesson on using the elimination method. Good luck.